Daniel's shift ended late, as it usually did. He worked as a delivery driver for a small grocery service on the edge of the city. His back ached from lifting boxes. His throat felt dry from talking to customers and traffic guards. He checked his phone, saw the time, and hurried to the bus stop. At home, his 5-year-old son, Liam, would be waiting with a toy car and a blanket. That thought gave Daniel a little strength. He wanted to be the strong parent his boy needed, even on tired nights like this one. The bus was slow. Rain was falling in thin lines across the windows. Daniel counted his tips in his pocket while the bus pulled past streetlights and empty sidewalks. He took a breath and tried to relax. He had just enough money for rent if nothing went wrong this week. He repeated that idea like a small prayer. "If nothing goes wrong," he whispered. He smiled to himself. Parents always think like that, he thought. Then the bus turned onto their block. Liam greeted him at the door with a crayon drawing. "This is you, Daddy," he said, tapping a stick figure with a square body and a smiling face. "That's your delivery box." Daniel laughed softly. He hugged the boy and thanked the neighbor who had watched him for 2 hours. The apartment was small, but it felt like home. A second-hand couch, a small round table, a shelf with children's books, and a kitchen that held the smell of warm rice and vegetables. Daniel washed his hands and sat beside Liam to look at the drawing again. "You're a good artist," he said. "You even got my big shoes." It was only a few minutes later that he heard a cough. It didn't sound like the usual quick cough. That comes and goes. It sounded tight, like air was fighting to get in and out. Liam coughed again and pressed a hand to his chest. Daniel touched his forehead. No fever, but the cough worried him. "You okay, buddy?" he asked gently. Liam nodded, but his eyes were a little wide. The cough returned and he bent forward, as if that would help. Daniel felt a knot form in his stomach. He knew kids got coughs. He knew that sometimes it was only a cold or a small irritation. But this sounded different to a father who knew every sound his child made at night. Daniel filled a cup with warm water and a small spoon of honey. He remembered a nurse once telling him that honey can soothe a cough in children over 1 year old. Liam sipped. The cough softened for a moment, then came back, short and sharp. Liam's shoulders lifted with each breath. Daniel checked the clock. It was late, but the emergency room was open. He hated the thought of going there. He hated the waiting. He hated the bright lights and the smell of disinfectant and the bag of bills that often followed a visit. But he also knew one true thing. His boy came first. He took a calm breath and smiled at Liam. "We're going to take a little trip," he said. "I think the doctors can help your breathing. We'll bring your car, okay?" Liam held the small red car in his fist and nodded. "Okay." They pulled on raincoats and walked down the stairs. The night air was cool and damp. Daniel decided not to wait for a taxi. The hospital was 10 blocks away. He carried Liam for some of it and held his hand for the rest. The city had quieted. A bakery sign glowed. A late bus hissed to a stop and then pulled away. When they reached the emergency room entrance, Daniel felt that same old mix of relief and worry. Help was here. But help always seemed to come with a cost. Inside, the waiting room felt brighter than day. Chairs were lined up like soldiers. A television played news with the sound turned down. A couple sat close, whispering. A teenager scrolled through his phone with a bandage on his wrist. A nurse at the triage desk spoke to a man with a forehead cut, her voice calm and practiced. Daniel and Liam took a number. The nurse waved them forward after a minute, and Daniel explained the cough and the tight breathing. Liam coughed right there, as if to show the problem. The nurse nodded, took a pulse oximeter reading, and told them to wait. She said they were not last in line, but not first either. "We'll keep an eye on him," she said kindly. They sat. Liam leaned his head on Daniel's shoulder. Daniel put an arm around him. He could feel every small breath. He wanted to pull the air into his son's lungs with his own hands and share it. He took out his wallet and looked inside. He hated counting money in a hospital, but he did it anyway, in a quiet corner. Tips, bus fare, a few folded bills for groceries. He counted twice and then once more. He had enough for now. He hoped this visit would be simple. He hoped for a quick answer, a clear plan, and a bill he could pay in small steps. A woman walked by in a simple suit, dark and clean. Her hair was pulled back and she wore a badge on a lanyard. She was not loud. She didn't give orders with a sharp voice. She moved like someone who knew the shape of the place and the weight of each person in it. She stopped to check a wall chart, listened to a nurse's quick summary, and kept going. When she passed the children's corner, she paused and smiled at a girl with a blanket. She seemed to carry quiet with her like a small lamp. Liam looked up. His eyes followed the woman as she moved. He sat a little straighter. Then he pointed with his small hand. "That's Mommy," he said, a soft but sure voice that made Daniel's heart stumble. For a second, the sounds of the room faded. Daniel's mind flashed with old images. A hospital bed, a gentle laugh, a goodbye. He put a hand on Liam's back and searched for the right words. He had learned to speak about loss with careful truth. "She looks kind like Mommy," Daniel said, his voice steady. "But Mommy is in heaven. Sometimes people remind us of her because they're kind too." Liam listened and nodded slowly, the way children sometimes accept the shape of a big idea. He didn't look embarrassed or confused. He simply kept watching the woman as if something about her made him feel safe. Daniel watched her too. She was speaking with the triage nurse now, not in a bossy way, but with attention. The nurse pointed toward the waiting area. The woman looked, in their direction, as if she had felt the pull of a small gaze. Her eyes met Daniel's, then moved to Liam, and softened. Daniel glanced at the number screen. It had not changed. Another cough pressed out of Liam's chest. Daniel rubbed his back in slow circles. He fought the urge to stand up and demand faster help. He knew there were rules, and he respected the work happening beyond the double doors. He told himself to breathe slowly so Liam would copy him. He counted to 4 in his head with each breath. The woman approached. Daniel stood, unsure what to say. He did not want to bother anyone. He also did not want to miss a chance to help his child breathe easier. "Hi," the woman said gently, crouching so her eyes were level with Liam's. "I'm Maya." She smiled in a quiet way, as if she was careful not to overwhelm a tired child. "You're doing a brave job tonight." Liam held his red car and whispered, "It sometimes works," as if the car were a good luck charm. Maya nodded. "Cars take time to start," she said. "Bodies too. We'll help yours start easier." She looked up at Daniel, not with judgment, but with a question. "How long has the cough been like this?" "Just tonight," Daniel said. "He was fine after school. It started an hour ago. It sounds tight." He tried to keep his voice calm, but the words shook a little. Maya's eyes were kind. "Tight is a good description," she said. "Thank you." She stood and walked to the triage station again. Daniel watched her speak to the nurse with a few short words and a nod. The nurse picked up a phone, made a call, and looked toward a doorway. A respiratory therapist with a rolling cart passed by, and Maya stopped him for a moment. She pointed toward Liam and said something Daniel could not hear. Back at their seats, Liam leaned into Daniel's arm, and the cough eased for 2 breaths, then returned. Daniel whispered a small story to distract him. He talked about the red car racing on a track made of pillows. He used his fingers to draw a circle on Liam's palm. The boy smiled through the cough and followed the imaginary loop. The television flashed weather maps. The security guard at the entrance helped an older woman find the bathroom. The room was full of small scenes of care. Daniel felt both alone and not alone, the way people often do in hospitals. Maya returned and crouched again. "Someone is coming to listen to his breathing," she said softly. "It won't be long." Daniel nodded, grateful for the specific promise. He looked at her badge. It had a logo and the hospital name, but the title was tucked behind the lanyard. He thought she might be a floor manager or a senior nurse. She did not act important. She acted present. Liam studied her face, almost as if he was trying to remember why it felt familiar. Children sometimes see kindness and think of home. Daniel wanted to say many things at once. He wanted to thank her. He wanted to explain that he worked nights and that money was tight, not because he was irresponsible, but because life stacked. Bills, like bricks. He wanted to ask if there were programs for families like his. He swallowed those thoughts for now. First, help Liam breathe. Then, ask questions. He closed his eyes for a second, then opened them and smiled at his son. "We're okay," he said. "We're together." Maya stood and spoke in that same gentle tone. "Can I get you water? Do you need anything while you wait?" Daniel shook his head. "We're okay. Thank you," he said. He was not used to saying yes to help. He was used to carrying everything, himself. But he remembered a counselor at a community center once telling him that strong parents accept help when it is good for their child. He took a breath. "Actually," he said, "what do I need for the bill? I'm W." The respiratory therapist arrived with a small rolling cart that made a soft rattle on the floor. On the top shelf sat a clear plastic mask, a little machine, and tiny bottles with long names. The therapist wore a friendly smile and a badge that said Leo, RRT. He knelt beside Liam and spoke in a warm voice. "Hi, I'm Leo. This little machine makes a soft cloud that helps air go in and out of your lungs. It can sound a bit funny, but most kids say it feels like breathing a small cloud." Liam held his red car in one hand and looked at the mask with careful eyes. Daniel felt his own breath get tight from worry. He wanted to promise his son that everything would be okay. Before he could speak, Maya leaned in at Liam's level, not rushing him. "Think of it like a superhero mask," she said softly. "It helps you breathe fast when you need extra help. You can squeeze your car while you wear it if you like." Liam nodded slowly. He did not look away from Maya, as if her calm face made the mask less scary. Leo showed the parts to Daniel step by step. "This is the nebulizer cup," he said, filling it with medicine from a small bottle. "This is the mask. We'll hold it gently over his nose and mouth. It will make a soft mist. He can breathe normally." Daniel watched closely, grateful for the simple words. He was tired, but he could still learn. He knelt on the other side of the chair and took Liam's free hand. "I'm right here," he said. "We'll do it together." When the machine turned on, it made a quiet hum and a light hiss. A thin mist rose in the mask. Liam's eyes widened, in surprise. But he did not pull away. Maya placed a small sticker on the back of his hand, a smiling star. "For bravery," she said. Daniel noticed that she had brought the sticker from a nearby drawer without making a big show of it. She noticed small things like that, as if she had done this many times with many children. For the first minute, Liam's breathing stayed fast and shallow. Then, slowly, he began to copy Maya's slow in-and-out motion with her hands. She moved, her fingers like gentle waves, and he followed. "Breathe like the ocean," she whispered. "In and out." Daniel matched the rhythm to help. He felt the room narrow down to the sound of the machine, the weight of his son's hand, and the patient way Maya waited. He did not think about bills for that moment. He only thought about air. A nurse came by to check the monitor. She clipped the small red light back on Liam's finger and read the screen. "Numbers are already a bit better," she said, smiling at Daniel. Relief moved through Daniel like warm water. "Thank you," he said, not sure who to thank first. He thanked all of them with his eyes, the nurse, the therapist, and Maya, who still stayed at child height beside the chair. The treatment took several minutes. Leo explained that sometimes they repeated after a short rest. He did not rush. He asked if Liam wanted a break. Liam shook his head, surprisingly sure. "I'm okay," he whispered through the mask. Daniel brushed his hair back with gentle hands. He felt a kind of quiet pride in his son's courage, the kind that grows when a child faces a new thing and does not run. When the machine stopped, the room felt extra quiet. Leo removed the mask and checked Liam's chest with a stethoscope. He listened carefully on the front and back. "Better air movement," he said. "Still a bit tight, but much better than when you arrived." He explained that the doctor would come and talk about a simple plan. He used phrases like action steps and easy instructions, and Daniel held on to those words. Action, steps, easy instructions. He could follow those. As Leo rolled the cart away, the triage nurse returned with a small cup of water for Daniel and a tiny apple juice for Liam. "Sip slow," she said. "You did great." Liam took a small drink and held up his car for the nurse to see. "It worked," he said in a proud whisper, as if the car had helped power the machine. The nurse nodded politely and moved on to the next patient. Maya stood and stretched her knees, but she did not step far. She watched Liam's chest, as if reading the rise and fall for extra clues. Then she turned to Daniel. "How are you holding up?" Daniel let out a careful breath. "Better than 10 minutes ago," he said honestly. "Thank you for all this." He felt that the words were not big enough for what he wanted to say, but Maya accepted them with a small nod. "You're doing right by him," she said. "That matters." Daniel hesitated, then asked the question he carried like a stone. "I'm worried about the bill," he said. "I have some coverage, but not much. I'm scared it will be too much." He felt a quick shame rise in his chest, as if he had failed by even bringing it up. Maya did not look surprised. She did not look impatient. "I understand," she said. "After the doctor checks him, I can ask a social worker to meet you. They can explain options in simple language. There are programs for families, sliding, scales, payment plans, and community clinics for follow-up. You will not be left alone to guess." "Simple language," Daniel repeated. The phrase felt like a small bridge across a wide river. He nodded. That would help a lot. He rubbed his eyes. He had not noticed how tired they felt until now. "I work nights. I don't want to miss too much work, but I also don't want to miss any care he needs." Maya listened, not jumping to solutions too fast. She asked a few short questions. Did he have a regular clinic? Did he have a reliable bus route? Did he have someone to watch Liam during late shifts if needed? Her questions were gentle, not like an inspection, more like a map maker placing important points on a paper. Daniel answered as honestly as he could. He said that he sometimes used a walk-in clinic when he had extra cash. He said the bus worked, but late-night service was slow. He said a neighbor helped sometimes, but he did not like to ask too often. Maya nodded, thinking. "We can connect you to a clinic that works with the hospital," she said. "Appointments are shorter than the ER wait, and the cost is lower. We can also add you to a list for a transportation voucher if they are available this month." Daniel felt his throat prick with grateful heat. Simple steps, real things. A woman with a calm face and a notepad arrived. Her badge read, "Rosa, Social Work." She sat on the edge of a chair and smiled at Liam first. "Hi there," she said. "I like that car. Fast, right?" Liam nodded. Rosa turned to Daniel. "I heard you have questions about cost and follow-up." She spoke in a friendly tone with no rush. "I can help with applications for financial assistance. We can also look at a patient discount card for the pharmacy, and I can give you a sheet with clinics near your bus line." She opened a folder and pulled out a simple form, printed in large, clear letters. "This is an application for help with hospital bills," she said. "We only need a few things tonight. We can finish the rest later if you're tired." Daniel exhaled. The form looked less scary than he had expected. It asked for basic information, not a mountain of details. He could do this. "Thank you," he said, taking the pen she offered. Maya stood a little to the side, giving Rosa space to work while still watching Liam. She did not take credit or make speeches. She just made sure the right people were in the right place. When Liam coughed again, it sounded looser, less sharp. He leaned back against the chair and let his shoulders relax. Daniel filled in the lines on the form while Rosa explained each step in simple words. "This line asks about your job," she said. "This line asks about your monthly pay. If you do not know the exact number right now, just write what you think and we can update it later." Daniel nodded and wrote carefully. After a few minutes, Liam held up his arms in that universal sign that means, "I need a hug." Daniel set the form down and picked him up. Liam's head found its familiar place in the curve of Daniel's neck. Daniel swayed a little, a quiet dance without music, and felt the warm, steady rise and fall of his child's breath against his chest. He closed his eyes for one slow second and opened them to find Maya watching in a kind way, like a person, seeing a small, honest piece of life. Rosa handed Daniel a small packet. "This has the clinic list, the discount card information, and a phone number for our helpline," she said. "You can call if a bill arrives and you're not sure what it means. You can also call if you miss a paper or need to reset a plan. We don't mind repeat questions." Daniel gave a short laugh that was half relief. "You might get many calls from me," he said. Rosa smiled. "That's fine. That's why we're here." A soft chime sounded from the hallway. "The pediatric doctor would come soon," the nurse said. Daniel returned to the form and filled the last line. Rosa took a quick picture of it on a tablet so the office could start the process right away. "You'll get a call this week," she said. "If you miss it because of work, don't worry. We will try again." Daniel thanked her again. He did not know how many times he had said, "Thank you" tonight. It still did not feel like enough. Maya checked. In with the triage nurse one more time. She asked about the order of rooms and whether a small exam space was free. The nurse nodded and pointed to a doorway where a curtain hung. "We can use that one in 5 minutes," she said. Maya returned and told Daniel in plain words what would happen next. "The doctor will listen, talk about what this might be, and share a simple plan," she said. "You'll get a paper with steps to follow and a number to call if the steps are confusing. If any word is unclear, stop us. We'll explain it. It is your right to understand." Daniel felt something gentle rise in his chest. It was not joy exactly, it was steadiness. That feeling you get when someone tells you that the road ahead, ho. The exam room felt smaller than the waiting area, but it felt calmer too. A soft lamp shone from the corner. A cartoon poster of smiling lungs hung on the wall. Liam sat on the exam chair with his red car in his hand. His breathing was steadier, now not so tight. Daniel stood beside him and rubbed his shoulder. He tried to be a steady wall for his son to lean on. A pediatric doctor entered with a gentle knock. He was in his 30s, with kind eyes and a badge that read, "Dr. Chen, Pediatrics." He washed his hands and smiled at Liam first. "Hi there," he said. "I heard you were brave with the breathing machine." Liam nodded and held up his car like a trophy. "It worked," he whispered. Dr. Chen smiled. "I like when things work." Dr. Chen listened to Liam's chest with a warm stethoscope. He asked Liam to take slow breaths, like blowing up a pretend balloon. He moved the stethoscope to the front and back, above the heart and below the shoulders. He did not rush. He watched Liam's face to make sure the boy felt safe. "I hear some tightness," he said to Daniel, "but the air is moving better than when you arrived." He clipped the little red light onto Liam's finger again to check oxygen. He showed the number to Daniel on the monitor. "This is much better," he said in a calm voice. "I think we're dealing with mild asthma." He said the word slowly, then explained it in simple language. Asthma means the small airways in the lungs can get tight or a little swollen. It makes air move like a car in a traffic jam. The medicine we gave relaxes those tiny muscles, like opening more lanes on the road. Daniel listened and nodded. The picture in his mind was clear. A jammed road, then more lanes, then smooth flow. Dr. Chen pulled a laminated paper from a folder. It showed 3 colored sections: green, yellow, red. "This is an asthma action plan," he said. "Green means normal. Yellow means a warning. Red means urgent help. We will fill this out with your child's name and steps to follow. You will have it at home. Keep it on your fridge." A nurse named Tasha stepped in with a small bag. Inside were a blue inhaler, a long clear spacer tube, and a paper spacer mask for children. She greeted Liam by name. "Hi, champion," she said. "Want to try a breathing game?" Liam's eyes brightened. "A game?" Tasha nodded. "Yes, we're going to make a soft cloud again, but with this little helper." She showed the spacer. "This tube helps the medicine go deep into your lungs. It makes it easier than breathing right from the inhaler." Tasha taught slowly and kindly. "Step 1, she said. Shake the inhaler. Step 2, press it once into the spacer. Step 3, put the mask over the nose and mouth. Step 4, take slow breaths, like smelling warm cookies. 10 slow breaths. That's it." She looked at Daniel. "You try now." Daniel took the inhaler with careful hands. He repeated each step, speaking it out loud to fix it in his memory. He pressed once, fitted the mask, and counted with Liam. 1, 2, 3. Liam followed the count and breathed like a small, serious athlete. When they finished, Tasha clapped softly. "Perfect," she said. "You can do this." Chen wrote the prescription and then handed Daniel a printed sheet with the same steps. "You will also get a spacer to take home," he said. "Use the inhaler before bedtime tonight and tomorrow morning. If he has a cough or tightness again, follow the yellow zone steps. If you ever feel scared, call the number at the top or come back." He paused and looked at Daniel with steady eyes. "You're not alone in this." Rosa, the social worker, appeared again at the door and gave a small wave. "Hi," she said. "I started your application for hospital assistance. We'll also register you at the community clinic that works with us. The clinic has a follow-up slot in 7 days at 3 p.m. It's near your bus line." She handed Daniel a small map with a circle around the clinic. "They have a nurse educator who teaches a short class for parents on how to use the inhaler and how to watch for signs. It's free." Daniel felt the tight rope inside him loosen a bit more. "Thank you," he said, the words soft and full. He did not know how many times he had thanked people tonight. He could thank them 100 more. It would still feel right. A billing clerk stepped in with 2 papers on a clipboard. She had a warm smile and a careful voice. "This is a summary of tonight's visit," she said. "Because of Rosa's application, the cost is reduced, and the remainder can be set on a plan. You can pay in small amounts. If any number is confusing, just ask." She pointed to a simple line that showed what insurance covered, what assistance removed, and what was left. It was less than Daniel had feared. It was still money, but it was a mountain he could climb. He signed where she showed him to sign. His hand shook only a little. Maya had not come into the small room. She stood just outside the curtain, giving the team space. When the nurse stepped out to grab something, Maya peeked in, and her face brightened when she saw Liam breathing easier. "How's our driver tonight?" she asked, nodding at the red car. Liam lifted it with a shy smile. "Fast," he said. "Faster now." Maya laughed softly. "I can tell." Daniel wanted to say something more to her. He wanted to say that Strangers can feel like family for 1 hour and change your whole week. He wanted to say that calm voices make a hard place feel gentle. But before he could find the words, a staff member hurried past the doorway and said, "Dr. Patel, the board call is on in 5. The words were casual, like this was normal, like Dr. Patel was a name everybody knew. Daniel blinked. He looked from the staff member to Maya. She gave a small nod to the person in the hallway, then turned back and spoke softly to Daniel. "I'll be back in a few minutes," she said. She checked that Liam was comfortable and slipped away with the quiet stride of someone who carried many tasks without dropping them. "Dr. Patel?" Daniel whispered after she left. He repeated the name in his head, trying to place it. He remembered a wall in the lobby. When they checked in earlier, he had seen a framed photo and a small plaque near the elevators with names of hospital leaders. He had not had the energy to read it then. Now his mind made a connection. When they stepped back into the hallway, he looked toward that wall. Even from a distance, he could see the frame, a portrait of the same calm face. The words under it were simple. Maya Patel, MD, President and CEO. The realization felt gentle and electric at the same time. The kind stranger who had crouched to eye level with his son, who had waited without rushing, who had placed a star sticker on a small hand. She led the whole hospital. Daniel's mouth opened in surprise, then closed again. It was not frightening. It did not change how her kindness felt. It only added a shape around it. He let out a breath he did not know he had been holding. Back in the exam room, Dr. Chen finished filling the green-yellow-red plan. He wrote Liam's name in neat letters and signed the bottom. "We like to keep things simple," he said, handing the plan to Daniel. "This copy is for home. We'll send a copy to the clinic too. And here's a number for our nurse line. If you're ever unsure, call. You won't bother us." Daniel placed the paper carefully in the folder Rosa had given him. It felt like a small toolkit for the road ahead. Tasha gave them a spacer to keep in a clean zip bag. She also placed a tiny sticker book in Liam's lap. "For the car driver," she said. Liam flipped it open and smiled at the shiny stars and small cars inside. Maya returned, as promised. She did not speak about titles. She did not speak about the board call. She greeted Liam first. "How's the road?" she asked, nodding at E. His chest with a playful wink. "Open," Liam said, proud of the new word. "Open road." Maya smiled. "Good." Then she turned to Daniel with a small practical list in her hand. "Before you go," she said, "I want to make sure you have these." She pointed to 3 items. "First, this is our patient assistance line. If a bill confuses you or if a plan needs to change, call. Second, here's a coupon card accepted by several community pharmacies. The discount is not perfect, but it helps. Third, this is a flyer for a parent group that meets twice a month. It is run by a nurse and a social worker. Parents talk about bedtime routines, school notes, and how to keep inhalers handy. Kids play in the corner with blocks." Daniel took the list with careful hands. He read the numbers and dates. The words were clear. The times were reasonable. "Thank you," he said, and the 2 words held layers. Thanks for help. Thanks for simple language. Thanks for being here. He thought of the plaque on the wall. He thought of the title under her name. He thought of how she had introduced herself only as Maya when his son was scared. Maya asked one more question, the kind that looked forward. "What kind of work do you do?" Daniel told her about delivery routes, about scanning boxes, about planning the order of stops to save time and fuel. He spoke about learning to stay calm when a customer was upset, about finding lost packages, about making a list and checking it twice. He did not brag. He simply shared what he knew how to do. Maya listened with interest. "We have a workforce team," she said. They help people learn hospital logistics, inventory, patient transport, and supply routes. It's steady work, with training and clear steps. I can give your name to the coordinator. No promise, but a fair try. Would you like that? Daniel's first instinct was to say, I don't want to take space from someone else. His second instinct was to think, could I handle it? He looked at Liam, who was busy placing a sticker on his car. He felt a small, brave spark. Yes, he said. I'd like to try. Maya wrote a name and an email on a small C. A week later, Daniel stood in front of a glass door with a small sign that said, Workforce Information Session, Logistics. He held a folder, the same one that carried Liam's action plan and the bus map. He had ironed his only button-up shirt the night before with care. His palms were a little sweaty, but his back felt strong. He had slept better this week. The inhaler made nights calmer. He reached for the handle, took one slow breath, and went in. The room was bright and simple. A few other people sat in chairs, in a half circle. On the wall, a whiteboard listed 3 words: kindness, accuracy, safety. A woman with short hair and a calm voice introduced herself as Amina, the workforce coordinator. She did not talk fast. She explained what logistics meant in a hospital. We make sure the right things are in the right place at the right time, she said. We move supplies, we help people, and we keep small things from becoming big problems. We do it safely and kindly. Amina asked each person to share something they knew how to do. When it was Daniel's turn, he spoke about routes. He told them how he learned to sort packages by address and time window, how he looked ahead for traffic, how he stayed calm with customers who were worried or confused. He did not try to impress anyone. He just told the truth. Amina nodded. Route thinking is valuable here, she said. A hospital is one big map. After the talk, Amina led them to a small training area. There were shelves like a tiny warehouse, each with labels. Bandages, gloves, IV sets, wipes. There were colored bins and a list called PAR levels, which showed how many items each area should always have ready. Amina explained a simple test. You will read a short request sheet, find the items, and pack a small cart. Check labels. Scan the barcodes. Move with care. No rushing. We would rather be slow and correct than fast and wrong. Daniel read his sheet. He moved his eyes line by line. He checked the shelf labels twice. He placed items in the cart in a tidy way, heavy things on the bottom, light things on top. He scanned each barcode and listened for the soft beep. It felt like old work in a new place. It felt like something he could learn well. Amina watched from a corner. She smiled when he rechecked a label he wasn't sure about. Good habit, she said. We like second looks. Next, a trainer named Joe showed the group a wheelchair. This is not just a chair, he said. This is trust on wheels. He taught simple steps. Always lock the wheels before someone sits. Introduce yourself. Ask the person if they are ready. Check the wristband. Move slowly around corners. Never rush. He had them practice with each other. When it was Daniel's turn to guide, he spoke in a steady voice. My name is Daniel, he said to the trainee who played patient. I will take you to radiology. Are you okay if we start now? The trainer nodded. Perfect tone, he said. We meet people where they are. After the session, Amina pulled Daniel aside. We have a trainee spot with flexible hours, she said. Evenings and some afternoons. It could fit your bus schedule and your school pickup time. There is a short interview this afternoon if you can stay. Daniel thought of Liam's follow-up appointment tomorrow. He thought of his neighbor, who had agreed to watch Liam in a pinch. He texted the neighbor to confirm pickup today. The neighbor replied with a thumbs up. Daniel lifted his eyes. I can stay, he said. The interview was not a trick. It felt like a conversation. A supervisor named Carla asked about times when he fixed a small problem before it became big. He told her about a lost package that he found by calling a building guard and checking a side door camera. He told her how he kept the customer calm by giving updates every 10 minutes. Carla nodded and wrote small notes. "That's the tone we want here," she said. "Clear, calm, and honest." By late afternoon, Daniel stood in the lobby with a trainee badge on a clip. It felt light in his hand and heavy in his heart, like a promise. He looked around and noticed something new above the front desk. A sign in friendly letters read, "Family Help Desk." Under it, a smaller line said, "Questions about bills, appointments, or getting around? Start here. We explain in simple words." He felt a warm surprise in his chest. He wondered if this sign was one of those small changes Maya had mentioned. His first trainee shift, Joe paired Daniel with a friendly senior tech named Priya. She spoke softly and moved with care. She showed him how to restock a supply closet. They scanned items, counted, and arranged the shelves. "We set these up like a good kitchen," she said. "Most used in the front. Labels big, nothing hidden." When Daniel reached for a heavy box, Priya stopped him kindly. "Use the cart," she said. "Backs are precious." She taught him to bend his knees, keep the box close, and ask for help if it was too much. Daniel listened. He had carried too much weight the old way for too many years. They rolled a cart to a nursing station. A nurse checked the list and thanked them. Daniel noticed a small stack of new brochures there, too. The title said, "Billing Help in Simple Words." He picked one up and read the first line. "You don't have to guess. We can explain." He felt a pull behind his eyes, a soft pressure that came when kindness arrived in plain language. He set the brochure back in a neat stack and straightened the corners. Priya watched his small act and smiled. In the afternoon, Priya showed him the fast-track card box at Triage. Each card had a tiny cloud icon and simple text. "Breathing. Trouble. Kids," Priya explained. "If a parent comes in and describes wheezing or tight breathing in a child and the numbers fit, the nurse can mark this card. It helps the team move faster to the right care." As if on cue, a dad came in carrying a sleepy toddler. The triage nurse listened, checked a number, and gently placed a cloud card on the chart. The dad's face loosened with relief. Daniel watched the small system do its quiet work. He felt proud to be part of a place that made tiny bridges like this. The next day, Daniel took Liam to the clinic for the follow-up. The waiting area had a small shelf of books and blocks. A nurse educator named Lila greeted them with a warm smile. "Come on in," she said. "Today we'll practice the inhaler again and talk about a routine at home." She brought out a teddy bear with a tiny paper mask. Liam laughed and gave the bear a name, Benny. Lila showed Liam how to help Benny breathe the cloud. Then she handed the spacer to Liam. "You're the teacher now," she said. Liam placed the mask on the teddy and counted 10 slow breaths. Daniel watched, full of quiet pride. Lila gave Daniel a simple chart with 3 columns: morning, afternoon, night. There was a small star next to inhaler before bed for the next 2 weeks. "You can put stickers here," she said. "Kids like to see their progress. Adults do too." She talked about common triggers. "Dust, cold air, strong smells," she said in gentle words. "If it's cold, wrap a scarf over his mouth. If you clean, open a window. Rinse the spacer once a week and let it air dry." Daniel nodded and wrote notes in the margin. It was all clear. It was all possible. A clinic. Staff member gave him a school form for the nurse and explained the steps to keep an inhaler at school. "We want teachers to know the signs," she said. "We want Liam to feel safe in class." They handed Liam a small coloring page of lungs with smiling faces. He colored them blue and green and showed it off. Everyone clapped like it was a masterpiece. In a way, it was. On the way home, they stopped at a community pharmacy. Daniel gave the coupon card Maya had provided. The cashier checked the computer and nodded. The cost dropped to a number that did not scare him. He exhaled. "Thank you," he said, this time to a stranger behind a counter who had no idea how much that small drop mattered. That evening, Daniel and Liam made a simple routine chart on the fridge. They used tape, markers, and a pack of star stickers from the clinic. Morning. Brush teeth. Breakfast. Check backpack for inhaler form. Afternoon. Snack, play, wash hands. Night. Bath, inhaler with spacer, 2 stories, lights out. Daniel drew small boxes and Liam placed stars as if he was decorating. A holiday tree. They stood back and admired their work. Routines are quiet heroes, Daniel thought. Workdays found a new rhythm, too. Daniel learned the hospital map corner by corner. He learned the fastest but safest routes to radiology, pediatrics, and the supply rooms. He learned which elevators were slow and which were quick. He learned the names of a few security guards and the coffee stand worker who always had a gentle word. He wrote small notes in a pocket notebook, things like, "Check wipes bin on 3rd floor often," and "Wheel lock first, always." Sometimes, when he walked through the lobby on his breaks, he looked at the Family Help Desk sign and felt a small spark of happiness. He saw a mother stand there holding a bill with a puzzled face and watched a staff member lean forward and explain the numbers slowly. He saw a grandparent ask where to go for an appointment, and the person behind the desk drew a simple map on a sticky note. These were small actions, but they felt like soft lights in a place that could be hard. One afternoon, Maya walked by as Daniel was restocking a cart near the lobby. She noticed him and paused. "How are you?" she asked. There was no rush in her voice. Daniel told her about the training, about Priya and Joe, about the chart on the fridge. He told her that Liam slept better. He did not hide his pride. He let it shine a little. Maya's eyes warmed. "That's good news," she said. "Keep telling us what is confusing out there. Small things add up." Daniel thought of the brochure stack. He took a breath. One small idea. 3 months later, the mornings in Daniel's apartment felt calm and bright. The routine chart was still on the fridge, a little wrinkled from so many hands touching it. Liam woke up with a soft yawn, found his red car, and padded to the kitchen. Daniel started oatmeal and sliced a banana. He placed a small star sticker on tonight's inhaler before bed box, ready for later. It was a simple trick, but it made the day feel steady from the start. He had learned that steadiness is a kind of strength. Liam's breathing was normal most days. On cold mornings, Daniel wrapped a light scarf around Liam's mouth for the walk to school. He kept an extra scarf in the backpack next to a copy of the action plan. The school nurse had a copy too. The nurse knew the signs and the steps. Everyone felt prepared, like a team that had practiced before the game even started. It helped Daniel breathe easier as a parent. Prepared is a peaceful word. Work had settled into a good rhythm. Daniel's trainee badge was now a regular hospital badge with his name printed clearly. He had a set schedule, afternoons and a couple of evenings, with time to pick up Liam and still arrive on shift without rushing. He knew the hospital map, so well that he could move carts like quiet rivers through the halls. Kindness, accuracy, safety. The words on Amina's whiteboard were living words now, not just a list on a wall. One afternoon, Carla called him into her office and showed him a short note. "Praise for Daniel from radiology, calm, helpful, stays till the job is done." Carla smiled. "Keep doing exactly that," she said. "We notice." Daniel nodded, feeling dignity rise in his chest again. He was doing work that mattered. He was seen. He was not perfect, but he was steady, and steady mattered here. He had started helping new trainees, too. Priya called him a good pair of eyes. When someone new looked lost in the supply room, he showed them the labels and the logic. "Think like a kitchen," he would say, repeating Priya's line. "Most used in front. Nothing hidden. Check the par levels. Scan, then scan. Again!" He spoke in simple words, because simple words helped him when he was new. He remembered how it felt to be unsure. He remembered how a soft voice can make a hard place feel gentle. The family help desk in the lobby had grown popular. Daniel walked by it each day. He saw staff draw maps on sticky notes, circle bus stops, and say, "Ask again if you're unsure. We don't mind repeat questions." He had suggested that line, and now it sat on the front of the brochure like a promise. He also noticed small changes on the wall near the desk, a simple poster in 2 languages about payment plans, a short list of community clinics with tiny bus icons next to each address, and a small flyer about the parent group that met twice a month. He smiled every time he passed. He had not built those things with his hands, but his voice had helped shape them. It felt like putting a small brick in a strong house. One Thursday, the parent group met in a bright room with a round table and a box of toys in the corner. Daniel sat with a paper cup of tea and listened. A nurse and a social worker guided the conversation, but the parents guided each other too. One mother spoke about worry at bedtime. A father talked about long bus rides with a tired child. Daniel shared the routine chart on his phone and the star stickers on the fridge. He talked about practicing the inhaler when the child is calm, not just when the child is scared, so the tool feels friendly. He said, "We say, 'Open road at home.' It's our code. It makes us smile." People nodded. A few wrote the phrase down. The nurse smiled and said, "Simple phrases help children and adults both." The next week brought a small test, the kind that shows whether the plan is real. Liam's teacher called at lunch. "He coughed after running," she said, "and his breathing got a bit fast. We followed the plan. He is okay now, but I wanted you to know." Daniel thanked her, paused, and asked, "Can I talk to him for a minute?" The teacher put Liam on the phone. Daniel spoke in his calm voice. "Hey, buddy, open road?" Liam took a breath and said, "Open road." The words were simple, and they worked. Daniel told the teacher he would bring a scarf and a reminder, note for cooler days. He did not feel panic. He felt prepared. Later that evening, he wrote a small thank you to the teacher and the nurse for following the steps. Small thanks are also a kind of care. Spring crept into the city with soft breezes and brighter evenings. The hospital planned a family open house on a Saturday, a community day with short tours, gentle talks, and a corner for kids to explore safe pretend medical tools. Daniel volunteered for the logistics tour. He showed families the supply, room, the safe parts. He explained how gloves, wipes, and bandages stayed organized so nurses did not waste time looking for them. He talked about wheelchairs as "trust on wheels," a phrase he had learned from Joe, and people nodded. Many had never thought about the quiet work that keeps a hospital moving. Daniel felt proud to share it. Liam came too and drew a picture at the kids' table. It showed a building with many windows, a small stick figure with a red car, and a taller figure with long hair near the door. Later, when Maya passed by the kids' table, Liam looked up. He had only seen her a few times since the night in the ER, usually from a distance as she moved through the halls with a kind nod for staff and patients. She stopped, admired the picture, and said, "That door looks welcoming." Liam told her very seriously, "We say open road at home." Maya smiled, like the phrase was a gift she would carry. She glanced at Daniel and said, "Good words." At the end of the open house, Daniel took a quiet moment to write a note. He had been thinking about it for weeks, but words feel heavy when they are about the heart. He kept it simple. Dear Dr. Patel, he wrote, thank you for being there. The night my son needed help. Thank you for simple words and steady actions. The plan works. He sleeps better. I work with pride. Please accept this drawing from Liam. He put the drawing inside the note and handed the envelope to the person at the front desk with a polite request. For Dr. Maya Patel. He did not expect an answer. He did not need one. Saying thank you is sometimes the whole point. A few. Days later, an envelope arrived in Daniel's mailbox with the hospital's logo. Inside was a small card with neat handwriting. Daniel, it said, you did the hard part. We removed a few hurdles. Keep telling us what helps families. Small things become big things. Maya. Daniel read it twice, then slid the card into the clear sleeve behind his badge where he kept the tiny star sticker from the ER night. He liked carrying reminders of steady help close to his work. As spring turned to early summer, the hospital tried a new thing, a quiet hour each afternoon on some floors, a time when lights lowered a little and non-urgent noise paused. Daniel did not design it, but he helped make it real. He timed cart deliveries to fall before or after the hour. He reminded new staff about the soft hour in the hall. Small respect, he realized, makes people heal better. The hospital felt like a place that listened to its own people. He liked being one of those people. He kept learning. Amina invited him to a short workshop on gentle communication. The class taught simple phrases that help when people are stressed. I hear you. Let me check that. We can take this step by step. Daniel had used phrases like that without names. Now he knew their names. He practiced them until they felt natural. He used them everywhere, at work, at the pharmacy, even at the bus stop when a confused person asked for directions. Clear, kind words were tools anyone could carry. There were still hard days, of course. A late bus, a long line, a form with a confusing box. But Daniel no longer felt like he was fighting alone. He had phone numbers. He had names. He had a plan on the fridge and people who respected his time and his child's health. He had a job where calm mattered and kindness counted as real skill. He kept a small envelope labeled surprises in the kitchen drawer, and it grew a little each month. He knew how it felt to climb a staircase made of small steps. One evening, on his way home, Daniel passed the lobby and saw a father standing at the family help desk with a worried face and a wrinkled bill. The staff member leaned forward and spoke slowly, pointing to the lines and pausing for questions. The father's shoulders lowered as he listened. Daniel felt that soft pressure behind his eyes again. He remembered the night he counted tips in a corner, afraid of what the numbers would say. He wanted to tap the father's shoulder and whisper, "You won't have to guess." He didn't interrupt, of course. He just stood for a second, grateful for a sign on a wall and the people behind it. On Liam's 6th birthday, they went to the park with a simple cake and 2 friends from school. The air was warm. The sky was wide. Daniel had the inhaler in a small pouch like he always did, and he hoped he wouldn't need it. They ran, laughed, and chased bubbles. At one point, Liam paused, placed a hand on his chest, and took a slow breath the way he had practiced. "Open road," he said quietly. Then he smiled and sprinted back to the swings. Daniel watched and felt a gentle pride settle in his bones. The plan wasn't a fear, it was a friend. Later that night, after cake and bedtime stories, Daniel stood by the window with the city lights flickering below. He thought about titles. He thought about jobs. He thought about names on doors and names on badges. He thought about a calm woman who had kneeled to eye level with a scared child and placed a star sticker on a small hand. Titles mattered for making systems move. He knew that now. But he also